So guys, we're about to take a rip on this nice spring day on this Can-Am, practicing my best social distancing, riding a bike with my helmet on. Stay tuned because I'll be riding Big Black, this stunning YZ250, this brand new Gas 280 Pro, the DT1 Yamaha 250, and a very rare Honda Magna. So stay tuned, but for now, let's focus on this Can-Am. Really excited about this. I rode this earlier. What a kick-ass bike. It's as close to brand new as you're gonna get. And it's like a time capsule to 1975. I'll channel my best Jimmy Ellis impersonation. I have the video of Jimmy winning the Super Bowl of motocross at the LA Coliseum. Hopefully Junior can plug that in right here. He's a local guy. He raced motocross in NESC right here when we were kids. So he was just the dominant New England rider. There was no one even close to Jimmy. He was, matter of fact, Jimmy also was credited for inventing the double jump. He was the first at the Super Bowl of motocross to turn two jumps into one. He set a new standard on these bikes right here. His bike, his factory bike, was putting down over 40 rear wheel horsepower. Stock, they were 36. He had an honest 6-7 horsepower more than the Japanese bikes, pulling massive hole shots, and nobody could ride like Jimmy. Think about it. I mentioned it earlier. For a company to create a motorcycle from scratch, all the engineering, all the licensing and everything, the financing, and come out and destroy the current rating companies that were dominating. Here's the best part about this bike. It's an enduro. You can take it off-road like this, or you can ride it on the road anywhere you want to go. And this is a kick-ass engine, I'm telling you straight up. This is definitely Kaplan America approved. I ride a lot of, I'm blessed. Heck, today I get to ride 6 vintage bikes. I'm absolutely blessed with what I get to do, but I also have a real knack at, I can tell if something's wrong with a bike without even turning a wrench on it, just by riding it the way it feels. And every once in a while, you get something like this one here that's tight, like brand new. Everything on this bike, the brakes, the transmission, the clutch, even the gauge, the speedometer, it looks like it just came out of the box. It's just a real time capsule back to the future. So this is what enduro is all about. I got the plate on here, the dealer plate. You register this thing and you're on the road. And think about it, the cost, you buy a brand new $8,000 enduro bike, a brand new 4-stroke 450 or whatever, you're gonna spend right off Jump Street, you're gonna spend about $6,000 in sales taxes. You're going to spend a lot on insurance, and then every year you got property taxes of $300-400. Now, this is a classic. You can register this as an antique. Your registration is going to cost peanuts. Your insurance is going to cost peanuts. And guess what? This bike's going up in value every year. Whereas a new bike, as soon as you roll it off the lot, you'll lose 30% of the value. Much better investment. A lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, take this out of Daytona for Bike Week. You park this in a parking lot and go to a gas station, you'll have a line of people. What a conversation piece. I don't want to talk about it. And you can pull up with a brand new $50,000 Harley Davidson CEO and they'll give you a second look. But they're a dime a dozen. This is Junior and I were talking this morning. We couldn't even find another sales comparison on this bike. There was nothing out there. Horn works nice. It's just a fantastic bike. Light, fast, reliable, and take it anywhere. This will go anywhere. Especially with the knobby tires on here. Pulls my big butt around, no problem. Just a joyful bike to ride. Big, comfortable seat. The handlebars are up nice and high where you want them. Brand new grips. The original levers are mint. This is what it's all about, man. Motorcycling is supposed to be fun. Handles beautifully. You want to go off-road a little bit? You go off-road. That's it. Can't do that on your dyno. I'm just amazed at how smooth this rotary motor is. There's like no vibration. And I think that's a testimony to the fact, you know, the crank bearings, everything on this bike, transmission, clutch, everything, 700 miles. It's basically just broken in. The 500-mile braking period. But it's got fresh maximum training lube and fresh non-ethanol fuel. And I don't know if Junior got this thing idling good enough. If not, when I get off, I'm gonna let it idle a little bit because it's pretty remarkable. What an awesome machine. This would be a fun bike to put some Supermoto tires on and take it around the racetrack on Laconia. This is going to be a great Supermoto bike around the corners and stuff. It's a wheelie machine too. It's a wheelie in all 3 gears. Just perfect. Back to the museum. Little wheelie machine. What a joy. Good luck finding a nicer one. They're just, like I said, there is no comparison data. None have even sold in the last 3 months on eBay to compare it to. And this is what we do. We collect and buy and sell vintage bikes, and you're just not going to find one this nice. Listen to the idle on this thing. Music to my ears. For a vintage track and trail bike, this TNT, you're not going to find, there's nothing better that was made in 1975 than this. This was a pinnacle of two-stroke development. The Rotax motor, the Bombardier manufacturing quality, just second to none, absolutely second to none. Listen to that engine. Wow. I think I forgot to mention earlier, if you don't know what Can-Am stands for Canadian American. It was a partnership between the Canadian Bombardier company and the American designers, and they were sold primarily in Canada and in America. Kick-ass bike. Jimmy Ellis dominated first year, destroyed the competition in the AMA 250 motocross, as we said earlier. 1, 2, 3 on the podium. No fluke. This same motor with a different state of tune took first, second, and third in the AMA Supercross Nationals, the most competitive off-road circuit you can race on. And this one's tuned for street and trail, so good luck bidding on it. If you have any questions, give us a call. Definitely Kaplan America approved. Kick-ass bike, made my day riding it, and that's what it's all about. It's supposed to be fun. God bless America. What's up, guys? This is Ken Kaplan at the New England Motorcycle Museum. And today, this is a real pleasure for me. This is the nicest running Can-Am 250 TNT we've ever had at the museum. The bike is a one-owner bike, 776 original miles. It's 100% bone stock, right down to the paint job, everything, all the running gear on the bike. The only things that aren't original are the tires and the chain and the grips. Other than that, it's exactly the way it came out of the box 45 years ago. It's just been thoroughly sorted out by the techs here at the museum. The Kaplan Cycles techs went through the entire bike top to bottom. I'll go over that with you in a minute, but I'll go over a little bit of the history of Can-Am with you to start while Kenny does a walk around on the bike. If you don't, you probably do know a little bit about the company, but I'll give you a little more history. In 1971, under the direction of American Gary Roberson, working with a team of Canadian and California development technicians, Can-Am began development of motocross and enduro bikes using engines developed by the Austrian Rotax company, another Bombardier subsidiary. Former motocross world champion Jeff Smith was later engaged to test and validate prototype motorcycles and establish a race program. So the serialized production bikes came out in 1973. Okay, so in 2 years, they came out with these kick-ass bikes. And in 1974, the machines made an immediate impact and started dominating, with riders winning gold, silver, and bronze medals at the International 6 Days Trial, an off-road motorcycle competition. And in 1974, Can-Am was the first brand to sweep the AMA 250 Motocross National Championship with Can-Am riders Gary Jones, Marty Tripes, and Cobalt, the Cobalt captain, Connecticut's own Jimmy Ellis. In fact, we have the Jimmy Ellis helmet and jersey that he wore at the Supercross season on display in the museum here. So Jimmy finished first, and Can-Am swept the podium, first, second, and third in the championship. Can you imagine that? An unknown motorcycle manufacturer coming out. That just wouldn't happen in today's market. Can you imagine some new manufacturer coming out and dominating and beating Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and KTM and Husqvarna? That's what Can-Am did. Just amazing. So in any event,
I still think to this day Can-Am doesn't get the recognition that they deserve for their bikes in the 70s. I mean, partially because of the low production numbers, and the Japanese definitely had a leg up in regards to their marketing department, and that's how they were able to phase out the European manufacturers in some ways. Some are still standing, but guys, if you haven't ridden a 75 Can-Am, well, you think you're an enthusiast, well, I don't know again.
You're really in for a treat. If you look back at some of our Can-Am videos, Kenny had a motocross version of this that we took out to Mid-Ohio that was absolute factory race quality bike with Olin shocks on it. And this is the Enduro version. It's tuned a little bit detuned from the motocross bike for longevity and reliability. But anyways, back to what they accomplished. So in 1976, Can-Am rider Skip Olson finished second to Dick Burleson in the 1976 AMA National Enduro Championship. The bikes had gained a reputation for their high power outputs, and I'll tell you straight up, these are heads and shoulders. I'm about to do a ride. I just wrote, see that red Yamaha over there, DT250 from the same era? The Bombardier Rotax engines are heads and shoulders above the competition, and just to give you an idea, the Rotax engine design used a slightly unusual style of intake. A compact rotary disc system was employed. Show them how that works on the other side where the air goes down into the carburetor and into the crank on the bike. A compact rotary disc system was employed, and this plate was altered between TNT, which is track and trail. That's this bike right here. It's designed for track and trail. And the MX model, which had the same motor, just with different tuning. And the MX models were tuned to a higher revving power curve, a little less torque. This compact rotary disc is accredited with a horsepower gain over conventional piston port engines used on the Japanese bikes like the DT1 I'm about to ride after this one. The MX3, produced in 1977, was a pinnacle of Can-Am. It had 36 horsepower and was 6 horsepower more than the closest competition. So the system worked. It had substantially more horsepower. So soon after that, Can-Am shifted their priority to recreational manufacturing of transit equipment, and several years later into aircraft manufacturing. And as a result, the investments in the young Can-Am company the division for motorcycles were reduced substantially. So in '83, Bombardier licensed the brand and outsourced the development and production of the Can-Am motorcycles to Armstrong CCM of Lancashire, England. And the final year that Can-Ams were produced was 1987. So awesome motorcycles, absolutely bulletproof. Junior, I think Junior wanted to say a couple things about it.
No, I lost my train of thought there. But absolute shame that the Canada manufactured Can-Ams, Bombardier, that they had to fizzle out. I think 78 or 79 was the last year. But these motors were absolutely ridiculous, and they handled great. If you haven't ridden one, you ought to.
Let's focus on the provenance of this bike here. We actually have the Valcourt, Quebec, Canada manufacturer's statement of origin, a motor vehicle. When's the last time you've seen a statement of origin for a 1976 Bombardier? Actually, it was a 1975 model, but it was sold on May 17th of 1976. So there you have it. And then the title to Bruce Johns. He purchased this motorcycle brand new, and it is a one-owner motorcycle. Kenny put this deal together to buy this in a vintage Triumph also from a collector who had this bike since it was brand new. We went through the bike, and you want to say something?
Yeah, we had to go to Arkansas to get this one. Way out in the sticks.
Hope you guys appreciate that. That's halfway across the damn country, okay? So I'm going to read off the work order here. The compression tests a perfect 165 PSI. The bike runs and rides like a brand new motorcycle. It feels super tight. Listen, I've ridden 2,500 motorcycles, mostly vintage bikes, pre-Y2K, in the last, 5 years? That are all on our channel. And
you kind of get, with your eyes closed, you can tell as soon as you start them, any vibration from the crank, any wheel bearing issues, any brakes or anything out of balance, you can tell. I mean, I'm riding bikes my whole life. I've ridden literally tens of thousands of motorcycles over the course of the last 45 years, working at motorcycle dealerships and running this museum here. So as soon as you swing a leg over this thing and start it up, when you hear it idle, no funny noises from the cylinder fins, no slapping of the piston. Everything's like brand spanking new. And that's confirmed with the 774 documented miles on this pristine original bike with 165 PSI compression. The first thing we did was install the brand new battery in it, make sure all electrical stuff was in order, the headlight and taillight. Installed a battery tender lead, which Kenny can show you on the side of this, so you can plug it in and keep the battery charged if you're going to let it sit all winter. Put a new spark plug cap and a new spark plug after we tested we had the plug out anyways to do the compression test. Then we took the gas tank off, flushed that out, and put 1 gallon of ethanol-free VP fuel, mixed it 32 to 1, and serviced the petcock and the new fuel line with fuel filter. We drained the oil injection reservoir on the frame backbone, then serviced the oil injection. We ran the premix in it to start, just in case the oil injection wasn't working properly. So we did service the entire oil injection, so now it runs straight gas. We replaced the reservoir banjo filter, put new oil injection line in it, bled the pump, set the throttle adjustment to the pump, and lubed the throttle cable and the injector cable. Now this bike has an in-backbone oil injection, so this is where you fill your gasoline, and this is where you fill your premix. See this filler cap right there? So once we got it tuned and we're sure the oil injector was working perfectly, because that's the worst thing you want to have happen is start up a 45-year-old bike and not have the oil injection work. So that was just a precautionary measure. So we also put new hand grips on it, brand new Ori hand grips. We removed the carb, did a full carb service, completely dismantled the carburetor, and removed the airbox from the motorcycle, fully cleaned the carburetor inside and out, including all the jets and passages. We put a new main air filter and a new pre-air filter with uni air filter components, using oiling the air filter and then greasing the joint, so it was done perfectly. So this thing's drawn really clean air. Of course, the airbox, after cleaned, was reinstalled and the carb was reinstalled. And we also, so the entire fuel system, the tank, the fuel lines, the carburetor, the airbox, the intake, everything's been completely dismantled and serviced as you'd want to have on any vintage motorcycle. And then the oil injection was tuned to perfection. Now you can run pump gas. What we do, we run all of our, we run VP small engine fuel, SEF 94 octane ethanol free fuel in all our bikes. And even on the 4-strokes, we mix it to 100 to 1 with 2-stroke oil. What it does is it stabilizes the fuel and it keeps the jets and the carburetor from getting gummed up. Just a little bit of lubrication. So you don't have to do that. I highly recommend it on any 4-stroke or 2-stroke that you're not going to ride as a daily rider. Mix it 100 to 1. It'll stabilize the fuel and use ethanol-free fuel. You don't have to, but it's just a recommend what we do here at the museum. So if you come around this side, you'll see the original chain was in good condition. It wasn't worn out, but it was not a big deal to put on a nice new gold chain. We thought it makes a nice statement of the condition of the bike. You know, a brand new chain. Look, zoom in on the chrome on the rims and the condition of the hub if you can show these guys. The original chrome on the rims, the 45-year-old chrome, is in outstanding condition. The bike has been thoroughly serviced top to bottom. The tire pressure is set at 18 pounds front and rear. The spokes were adjusted. That was a total of 9 hours in the service department. As far as the parts, new Yuasa battery, new NGK spark plug, new spark plug cap, new visual inline fuel filter, new set of Ori grips, VP ethanol-free fuel, 2 quarts of injection oil, Maxima injector oil, 2-stroke injector oil, new vent lines, new fuel lines, quarter Bel-Ray transmission fluid, so the tranny fluid was changed also. A new uni air filter for the primary, uni air filter for the secondary, new battery tender lean, and a gold chain. That's reading off the work order. $256 in parts, 9 hours of labor. Then I went through the service, the detail shop where our PhD detailer Doc gave it the full Monty. Hand washed the entire bike with degreased and hand washed the entire bike, including the tank and fenders, buffed the plastic, renewed the chassis with some touch-up paint, polished all the aluminum, touched up the exhaust, touched up the controls, touched up the hubs. He spent an entire 6.5 hours detailing this bike from top to bottom, so it's absolutely spotless, top and bottom. There's no dirt anywhere on this bike. And so that's basically the rundown of the history of the bike and exactly what was done on this bike. The total work order came to $13.95 in labor, $256 in parts, and then miscellaneous shop supplies, $1,777 was invested in this, a small price to pay to do what we call a preservation service. Set the bike up so it'll last another 45 years if you take care of it. Everything's done, doesn't need anything, get on it and ride. The tires that are on here are an off-road tire. If you're gonna ride it on the road, you probably wanna put more of a dual sport tread on there. We can install the tires for you here if you'd like, or you can buy it and take it home and ride it like this. This bike has beater forks on the front, B-E-T-O-R. They were one of the best forks made at that time, and they outsourced the rear shocks to S&W, which were a big cut above what the Japanese were putting on their bikes. The frame is a steel double down tube frame with the in-tank, in-frame oil backbone, nice cushy seat. The original rear fender isn't intact. It has some, look at the patina on the fender here. 45-year-old plastic fender. Just has a little bit of patina on there. The original taillight's in great shape. The exhaust system is like brand new. I mean, it's as close to brand new as you're gonna find a 45-year-old exhaust. And looking at the bottom of it, there's no dents, there's no dings, there's no damage to the bottom of it. This is a downpipe. If this bike was ridden off-road, that would have been damaged. The original shifter, kicker, engine cases, cylinder fins are all immaculate condition, as are the pegs, the frame, the side covers, even the little sticker, the TNT DVD sticker. That's a 45-year-old sticker. Those usually get blown off from improper power washing. The original tank is in excellent condition. It does have a little bit of a fading and patina to the tank, as you'd expect for a 45-year-old original. If you want this thing painted bright winter white, the original color, in new graphics on here, we can get that done for you for about $700, and it'll look like it just came out of the showroom. However, I don't recommend doing that. I think the bike's worth more original, but that's why we didn't do it. If we thought it'd be worth more painted, we'd paint it. But you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I love the original classic look. The original decals, they're only original once. The original bars, original levers, original headlight, everything is in superb condition on this bike. And the best part about it is it actually runs better than it looks, which is a rare commodity for a classic antique. This runs like a brand new motorcycle. So I'm really looking forward to the test ride on this one. I'm going to take it for a nice rip. So stay tuned, and God bless America.
Yeah, let's put the helmet cam on. You can go for a nice rip and let the folks hear it.
Yeah, and I think now would be a good time to say, if you want to leave this in the museum, please, we'd be honored to have it here. If you want to ship it anywhere in the country, we can get it over to the UK for $750. We can ship it anywhere in the country. Call for a quote, 860-454-7024. If you're watching this video, please call East Coast. We're here 9 to 5 East Coast time.